right, everybody. First of all, I want to thank all the fighters for being a part of Havoc at Budweiser next Friday. We're learning as we go with these media days. We'd like to thank Butch with Loudwire 94.3. They're doing a live remote. Also, a big round of applause for Jeff and Pete Kia. They're our title sponsor. I'd like to thank Crime Scene Photography for coming out. Phil Lampert. Also, Chris Camozzi, UFC middleweight. We want to thank Title Boxing in Fort Collins for being such a huge part of the event, helping sell tickets. One of our other booths, so we got Avocare over here, so everybody give a round of applause to Chad and Avocare. I personally want to thank my wife, my sister, our staff, Ren with with Rev Marketing. I want to thank all the fighters, all the fans that always come out, all the media. There's some big things coming in the next few months for Sparta Combat League, and we have an amazing production team. We're doing some brand new things. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Chris, and he's going to interview one of the most anticipated fights in years between Brian Scraper and Danny Mitchell in a professional Muay Thai fight next Friday night. So let's put it together with these guys.
Yeah, as Jeff said, this is a highly anticipated Muay Thai bout, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of traditional Muay Thai, so I think it's awesome that Sparta Combat League is bringing back professional Muay Thai to Colorado. It's been gone for a little bit, and we're making a comeback with, signing guys like these two to fight, and professional Muay Thai is a little bit different, with when you see the amateur Muay Thai bouts here, they're wearing shin guards and headgear and bigger gloves. These guys will be going no shin guards, no headgear, and 10-ounce gloves? Yep, these gloves right here. So both of these guys, we got Danny Mitchell on my right and Brian Scraper on my left. They both come from great camps. I'm going to give them a second to let us know where you train, who you train with. Just give us a brief description of your camp and yourself.
Thanks. Name's Brian Scraper, train over at Trials Martial Arts with Ed Herman, Ryan Schultz in Fort Collins, Colorado. Here with the support of my sponsors, Max Muscle, Northern Colorado, Raintree Athletic Club, Title Boxing Club, and of course Trials. Looking forward to the fight, man. It's a rare opportunity to do a full Muay Thai rules bout, and I think it's something that the fans will really pick up on.
Danny Mitchell, I'm training at Team Wildman in Denver, Colorado. I'm super excited for the fight. I've done a lot of Muay Thai fights, and I haven't really fought anybody that has a Muay Thai base, so it's going to be really exciting. I think the fans are going to love it. I work at LA Boxing. I want to thank LA Boxing for letting us go in there and train. My sponsors, New Vintage, Realm Communications, Muscle Milk, Three Dogs Tavern, and hopefully we work on getting some more to the list for all these Muay Thai fights so everyone wants to come out and sponsor these Muay Thai fighters.
So Brian, let me start with you. What do you know about Danny here, and what do you think your biggest weapon is in this fight, and where do you feel that you have the upper hand?
Well, I've seen Danny fight a couple of times. Went to his last fight down in Denver. And from what I understand about him, he's got a traditional Muay Thai background. He's tall, likes to use a lot of knees and kicks, a little bit like me, to tell you the truth. And I think that that's part of the excitement about putting this matchup together. One advantage that I feel like I've got is better athleticism. I think that I'm going to be able to put pressure on him, and I want to see if he can keep with that pressure.
So do you train with any traditional Muay Thai guys, or have you been training MMA most of your career and kind of mixing it all together? Do you come from any kind of striking background, boxing, Muay Thai, karate, anything in the past, or is it all just come together, over the years?
Yeah, I started, I guess about 11 years ago in amateur boxing, doing USA Boxing and local smokers until I caught on to an MMA club. And from that point on, it was a style of striking that was picking up on Muay Thai because that was the most successful style that was coming up in MMA. But I converted from doing amateur boxing to doing a lot of amateur Muay Thai bouts, and that was kind of my background coming up, learning the grappling as I was coming along. So the majority of my experience has been in kickboxing and amateur Muay Thai. And to tell you the truth, I had always wanted to have a professional career in Muay Thai, but I didn't know how much potential there was because at that time, it really wasn't that popular. There wasn't a bunch of opportunities. The opportunities that were growing, and this is like 2004, 2005, was in MMA, and so that was my concentration. Getting more of these opportunities coming up because the sport has become more and more popular. I've centered more training back to my Muay Thai roots, and that's one of the great things about having Ian Stonehouse in my camp. He and I both having the same fight on the same date, being able to train those techniques that we don't typically train getting ready for an MMA bout.
So let me turn it over to Danny Mitchell here. What do you know about Brian Scraper, at least from a striking point? And how do you feel this fight goes, and where do you think your strengths are as opposed to his?
I've seen Brian fight a couple of times. It's been a long time since I've seen him fight. We both have similar styles. Like he said, we're both tall, lengthy, kickboxing backgrounds. I think it's going to be a good 3-round fight. You know, banging, a lot of reach, a lot of knees, a lot of head kicks, leg kicks, all over the place. I'm looking for a 9-minute scrap.
All right, last question. Do either of you care to give a fight prediction, how it goes down?
Fight of the night.
My quote exactly, fight of the night.
All right, guys, last time, something that a lot of people wanted to know is we have some people in the crowd that wanted to ask you guys some questions. So believe Ron had a couple questions.
Hey, guys. Quick question for both Danny and Brian. Both of you guys are known to not really take any steps backwards when you fight. Very aggressive, but I don't think either of you has ever fought somebody like each other. With that said, what kind of fight are you both expecting? Brian, I'll start with you.
Well, I think you're right. We are both pressure fighters, but we both like to use our length, which is kind of a paradox of sorts. But in Muay Thai, you've got a lot of options. You know what I really see happening is with neither of us really giving ground, there's going to be a lot of exchanges to where we're both kind of staggered back and then just getting back into the mix. And that's where I feel like the potential is for the most exciting fight on this card.
For me, it's kind of hard to tell. I meet at the center of the cage, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. You know, we'll see who's going to hit the range first, who's going to get in the rhythm first. Brian's probably more athletic, but I'm going to go big country and use my weight on him. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome, guys. We'll just give a round of applause to what many people believe is going to be fight of the night next Friday night, Danny Mitchell and Brian Scraper. So we can get a face-off up here, guys, on the Pete Kia North stand. Would be awesome. Awesome. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot wait for that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring to the table our next competitors, also a professional Muay Thai fight, representing Trials. Give it up for Ian Stonehouse, and out of Krager Thai, Steven Simmons.
All right, I got Ian Stonehouse here on my left and Robert Simmons on my right. Steven. God, I always mix him and his brother up. Sorry about that. You're all right. So let's get it started again. Let me know what you know about your opponent here. How long you've been training in Muay Thai. I know you've both fought MMA, but now we're switching over to professional Muay Thai again. What did you have to do different to prepare for this fight rather than an MMA fight? And where do you think your strengths are in this fight? We'll start with Ian.
Yeah, Steve, I've seen fight a bunch. I think we've even fought on the same cards. Been around the game for a while. As far as the differences between training for this fight, I don't know if a month or two after this I'll have an MMA fight, so I'm not neglecting my ground completely, but it's definitely been more stand-up focused, a lot more body conditioning, just a lot of technique, just making our technique basically just more crisp and really focusing on that. And yeah.
He's afraid to talk this time. No, for me, I switched my camp. I'm now training with Danny Mitchell and Krieger Muay Thai out of LA Boxing, and for me, that's just been a huge help because everything's all localized on stand-up, and I don't have to spread myself thin worrying about wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and things of that nature. I haven't seen Ian fight much. I really don't watch video, but I know he's great, and I know he's tough, and so I've just been pushing my body as far as I can every time to make sure that me and him can have the most excitement and the best fight possible in the end.
So for those of you that don't know, when they talk about body conditioning, I'll give each of you a chance to enlighten everybody, but I know, for myself and a lot of other fighters, you got to train your shins and stuff. Professional Muay Thai, they're not using shin guards or anything anymore, and you don't exactly wake up out of bed and you're just able to take leg kicks. It's pretty painful getting used to it, kicking the bottom of the bags, training without shin guards, building up your shins, but building up your body as well, taking those shots. So just for fun, is there anything kind of crazy you guys do to train your bodies? I've heard some different stuff over the years from people, so I'm kind of curious about this.
Let's see here. Probably, aside from kicking the bag, that's always what I used to do. Hit the bottom where it's all the sand is sinking down and pretty rock hard. We started kicking tires recently. That sucks, let me tell you that. It still sucks even after my shins are conditioned, but yeah, I can tell you it helps though. It's one of those things like you see in mixed martial arts fights. If someone's matched up against a wrestler or something, sometimes they can't let their stand-up go fully, and they might take tons of damage in the fight, but we don't have the option to take each other down and choke each other out for this fight. So you can be pretty unscathed in a lot of MMA fights, if you have a good game plan and everything, but Muay Thai, you're gonna take damage, and so that's the plan. That's why we're preparing our bodies for punishment, and I'll be ready for it, so.
How about you, Steve? Anything unorthodox you do to train your body?
Well, like Ian said, this is a punishment type of game. Bottom line, sometimes it doesn't come down to who's better. It comes down to who's tougher and who's got more heart. And so, I kick tires and stuff like that too. But during sparring and things like that, I'll purposely allow myself to get hit as hard as possible in certain areas to know that I can get in a fight. I train my shins with like a dowel rod and hemp rope and stuff, and I bruise them up really good and stuff like that. So just to be able to take that punishment. Right, Garrett? Where's Garrett? Damn him. Okay, never mind.
All right, guys, last question. Let's, either one of you have a fight prediction?
No prediction, man. I'm just going in with no expectations, just hoping to react off his movement to make the best fight possible and have the outcome come out in my favor.
Yeah, same. I'm all about living in the moment, so I don't really expect anything to happen. I just go out there and, just fight, just the way I'm trained. Don't really think about the future too much. Just live in the present moment. But I do think it's going to be an awesome fight, and I think we'll put Scraper and Mitchell's fight of the night up for a challenge. So, yeah, should be good.
We got a couple questions for you guys.
Thanks again, Jeff. So for both of you guys actually come from up north around here originally. That said, how big of a factor do you both expect the crowd to be? Steve, I'll start with you first.
I believe people I believe people are attracted to Muay Thai, and it's starting to become a growing factor. And I believe with people like myself, Ian, Scraper, and Mitchell, we can all attract those people to draw bigger crowds, and that doesn't just help us, but it helps everybody else in the long run. So I would like to say that we're going to have a big outcome, bigger than the last event that he had at the Budweiser. And that's the idea, to keep this growing bigger and bigger so people like myself and Ian can keep having these fights when needed.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. I can't wait, to be a part of something like this. I've always wanted to do Muay Thai because I've, for one, always thought that one of the more, exciting forms of contact competition. So it's gonna be awesome to be a part of it. I think the event where it's being held at the Budweiser Event Center is a great location. Fort Collins, Greeley, all these surrounding areas. Denver's not far off either. So it's kind of right in this middle point where all these huge crowds, all these big fans can meet up and watch a good show. So.
Chris, what are you expecting out of this fight?
I was just going to ask who thinks they're going to have the bigger fan base.
So who's got the bigger fan base, guys? Awesome. Well, let's get a face-off. Give these guys a round of applause. This is definitely going to be one of the exciting fights of that night. All right, guys. So I want to welcome to the stage the co-main event of the evening. This is a fight that has been talked about for many years. It's a rematch. It's the biggest fight that can happen in the heavyweight division in the state of Colorado and some surrounding states as well. Please welcome to the stage the undefeated heavyweight Josh Copeland and the top competitor Anthony Alvarez.
All right, as Jeff said, this is a rematch. Both these guys met each other when they were amateurs, and it's been years now, and there's a big difference between amateur fighting and professional fighting. And I think it's exciting that they get to rematch now as professionals. And I was talking to Anthony earlier, and I was telling him that's at least as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of the fighters I know, that if you lose to somebody, it's like a dream fight to be able to rematch that person and get that loss off your record. So let me start with Copeland. How much does defeating Anthony Alvarez in the past play into this fight for you mentally and physically? And how are you going into this? What are you expecting from Anthony?
I'm not the best talker, so I apologize. I would say fighting Anthony in the past, when I went out there, my eyes were definitely opened. He's definitely a tough competitor. Very impressed with his hand speed. He's a big boy, but he's definitely a lot faster than he looks. And when I went out there, I fought Anthony with a year and a half of striking underneath my belt, and I was definitely blessed to come out with the victory, and now 2.5 years later, I've been doing nothing but training consistently, and now I've been, Trevor Whitman and Brian Young. I've had a lot of phenomenal people working in my life to get me where I'm at today, and to me, I'm nowhere near the fighter that I was back then, and I'm completely different, and I don't know, I forgot your question.
All right, a little bit along the same lines of the question to Anthony. With this being in the past and everything, I'm sure you can't wait for redemption. But how does the past play into it? Do you forget about it and you start fresh? This is a new fight. Or is it in the back of your mind? Does it motivate you more, or does it give you a little bit more of nerves for this fight than other fights?
It's a lot of motivation. It's something I've been wanting for years. Lacked a little cardio back then in my amateur, picking it up now. This one, I'm probably the best camp I've had so far.
All right, with the Sparta Combat League heavyweight title being on the line, Josh, you've put together a great record here in Colorado. If you win this belt, what does that do for you? Does it push you on to regional promotions or possibly the UFC or anything like that? How do you feel this places you with a win over Anthony?
I don't know. I mean, definitely UFC looks at your record, but they also look at who you fought. I've had a couple mishaps and people falling out, and I've had to fight some lesser opponents like the week of, or I don't know, some crazy things like that. So I'm not the type of person to say I'm 5-0 and I'm the best thing out there just because, you know, I don't know. I like to be real, and you know, a couple of those fights were basically give me fights or whatever, you know, and I was just blessed to fight and get paid. You know, I mean, I'm excited about this fight just because Anthony, there's a reason he's ranked number 2, you know, and he's a tough opponent. He's a guy that I'm excited to fight and to say, hey, I am worthy to be ranked number 1, you know, and that's if I can beat him, you know, that proves that. And I don't know, Anthony's no slouch, and it's just it's a blessing to fight him.
All right, Anthony, same question over to you. What does winning the Sparta Combat League title do for you in your career? And, you know, with a win, what do you feel is next?
With the win over Josh, it just puts me at the top where I belong. I fought the best out there. I've had some ups and downs, but hopefully come the 13th, it'll be my up, and I'll get my KO that I've been wanting.
Other than cardio, how do you feel things have progressed for you since the last fight? You know, what should we watch for, you know, the big change in Anthony Alirez?
I've been training more with natural heavyweights now, with Bobby Lashley, Alex Huddleston, Kevin Sears, 265-pounders on up, so it's a little bit different from where I was coming from, practicing with the 185-pounders, 205-pounders. It's a little bit different. So now I got the weight. It's a lot of ground, tuning up my stand-up, and we're good. Been working with Clarence Thatch a lot, so we're there.
All right, last question. You know, ideal night, how does it go down for you, Josh?
Ideal night, I would say, of course, a one-hit knockout, but Anthony's a lot better than that. And I mean, honestly, I don't know. Both of us are finishers, you know, and I definitely don't see a decision out of this fight at all. So, I mean, I figure one of us will be hitting the canvas in the first round. So, you know, that's Anthony's a dangerous opponent. I'll never say that I'm going to do anything that I don't know that is going to happen. So, I don't know.
I agree with you. You know, when I first saw this fight on paper, you know, I told Jeff, I was like, this is going to be a throwdown. You know, I don't see it going the distance at all. But same question to you, Anthony. Ideal night, how does it end?
I'll be the bad guy. I'm going to knock you out, Josh. First round.
First round knockout prediction. All right.
Got a couple questions. Dave?
As a big guy, I always want to know that do you want to get the knockout first in the first round because you just don't want to go 3 rounds?
We just hit hard. That's the way it is.
And second question. Oh, wait, go ahead. You first, Cody.
Josh, that's but I don't know. To me, it's almost like, thank you for holding that. I'll take it. Sorry. You know, to me, it's nice to get the knockout, but in the same aspect, you don't learn and you don't get that cage experience. You don't get to be put through the tests and trials to see how you perform underneath the lights as it continues to go on. You know, and that's, I mean, of course the knockout's nice. People don't understand the pressure, the emotions that goes through fighters, you know, and people don't understand. We have friends, family there. We have sponsors that don't want to sponsor a loser. We have clients that don't want to train with losers, you know, and there's so much riding on the line for us, and if we can go in there and get the knockout in the first round, hey, you know, like, praise God, we're blessed, you know, but if it doesn't happen, of course, we are big guys, and the third round is not fun. It's a test of will for sure, you know, so.
These guys are being modest. I'll take a one-shot knockout every fight of my career if I could do it, so I don't have to get tired. If I could sweat more warming up, I'd be happy.
I didn't mean Cody. I used to call him a big guy cuddly.
Oh, I like that.
But what do you think about Chris's Terminator look over here?
Very intimidating.
Sorry, guys. So with this fight obviously being a heavyweight favorite, there's a ton of action that's expected in a heavyweight fight. Everybody expects to see a knockout, especially with big guys. That said, you have to have that mental preparation of being able to go those long rounds if needed. What have you guys done differently for this fight? I know you guys are training with heavyweights, but what have you guys done differently to prepare for a longer fight? Anthony, actually, I'll start with you.
Going a lot of rounds, live rounds with my partners, a lot of cardio, going Monday through Saturday, even Sundays, just hitting.
So more training?
More training, tons of training.
Josh?
Man, for me, I really haven't done anything different. You know, I train full time. I get in 13 practices a week, every week, you know, and that's, for me, where I'm at and what I do. I trust that I'm at the best camp in the world. I trust the advice of my coaches. You know, I don't know. I truly believe I have world-class coaches, and for me to second guess what they have me do, it's crazy. You know, they've trained world champions time and time again, and I just want to follow in their footsteps. You know.
So no major changes, obviously.
No, just training like
More.
normal.
So it's funny, when I first signed this fight, I was in the grocery store, and we already knew we had a commitment out of Josh. I called Anthony and I sent him a message. I said, "Hey buddy, have an opportunity for you," and his response was, "I've been waiting for you." He said, "Is it Copeland? ? And I said, "As a matter of fact, it is." He says, "Done deal." And I'm running around the grocery store like this, and people are looking at me, and I have my wife next to me, and people are like, "What the hell's wrong with this guy?" I mean, I already don't set off the best first impression with my hair and and the tattoos. People are probably like, "Please, please, please, please." So, a question I have actually is, Josh is probably the nicest guy I've ever met outside of MMA. He's just the most genuine, nice guy I've ever met, and his wife is such a sweetheart. So my question is always, and I want you to answer this question: what's it like for you when Josh fights?
Ooh, it's nervous. I get nervous. It's nerve-wracking.
I've seen you running around and screaming and yelling and stuff. What's it like the final week in the house? You guys talk about the fight with John?
We do, but we don't. We do and we don't. So it's a lot of him training and me just kind of being there.
So I got the same question for Mrs. Hilarious. What's it like for you? Because I know that you're a fight fan. What's it like in that household the final week? Because also Anthony is a super nice guy, but I mean, these guys are two of the most ferocious competitors out there right now.
It's rough. He's grouchy all the time. The last week, I get nothing but grouch. But we make it through, and we don't really talk about the fight. I think I just let him get in his zone and concentrate on what he needs to focus on.
That's awesome. So we came up with the idea to shoot these guys in a 3-week video series called Road to the Title, that kind of takes the fans into their life and into their training camp and preparation. What's the experience been for you guys with the cameras being around so often? Is it new to you? Does it make you more nervous?
I don't know. For me, I honestly think it's fun. I think it's cool. It gives my friends, my family, just a peek into what's been going on with me, with my training camp. A lot of them don't understand exactly what us fighters do. They don't, a lot of people don't understand it's so much more than just getting in there and fighting. There's so much preparation. So I don't know, it's fun just to just show my friends and family exactly what's going on in my life and how things are leading up to biggest fight of my career. So
it's fun. I like doing interviews. Get a little nervous once in a while. Your camera guy he knows how to make you nervous with the questions. So he's even grinning at me right now.
He said you threatened to beat him up last Thursday, but we made it
I
past
offered
that.
to make him dinner. No, it's been great. Lets a lot of the younger fighters that are in the gym see a different aspect of it. So it gives them something to look forward to. Lets friends and family just see where you're at, what you're doing for this fight, so preparing and everything.
That's awesome. Well, as you guys know, I'm super excited for the whole card. As a fan, even some of the matchups so I want to thank you guys for being a part of it. Let's get a round of applause for these guys, and let's get a face-off right here. Awesome, guys.